As a residential homeowner, the only financial mechanisms you have really are all debt-based.
What's the number one secret of the first step to unlocking this equity freedom in your home?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the problem that we solve. So let's put the discussion in that context. And the problem has become particularly relevant over the last 18 months or so as we see huge house price appreciation. So the problem is, if you are a homeowner and you have significant equity in your home, the only way that you can access that equity is to borrow money. And that means you can only access what is probably your largest source of wealth by going deeper into debt. Now, that's okay if you have the cash flow to support that additional debt, but it's a problem for you if you cannot borrow money. Now, you may not be able to borrow money because you may not simply meet the bank's requirements. You may not have the credit score, you may not have the income, or you may not want to borrow more money. You may not want that exposure. So if you're sitting on potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity, and I think more than 18 million homes in the US are equity rich in the sense that the homeowner owns more than 50% of the equity in the property. So, if you want to do that, your only option other than a home equity agreement, which is the agreements that we create, is to borrow money. Now, a home equity agreement really uses commercial funding processes in a residential environment. So what I mean by that is that if you are a commercial real estate developer, there are a number of funding tools at your disposal. There's all sorts of different types of debt. You can borrow money as senior debt or as junior debt. There's mezzanine finance. And there's also different forms of equity. So you can have preferred equity, or you can have equity that's part of a shared appreciation mortgage. So as a commercial operator, you have all sorts of funding mechanisms at your disposal. As a residential homeowner, the only financial mechanisms you have really are all debt-based. So different flavors of debt: a mortgage, a reverse mortgage, a home equity line of credit. That's pretty much it. So what a home equity agreement is, it's a mechanism, or it's a financial tool that enables you to access your home equity without borrowing money. And the way that works is we have investors who share in the appreciation of your home. So they get paid by taking a percentage of the amount that your home goes up in value, rather than taking interest or having a payment via interest on the loan. So I'll pause there, yes, and see if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it does, and make sure I gather that too. So first of all, the problem is that there's a lot of folks who either want to access the funds, but don't necessarily want to take on more debt, or they don't have the ability to access the funds because perhaps their credit score or wherever they're at, the cash flow needs just aren't there, right? And they're just not. It's just too much for them. And there's about 18 million homes. I think you said sitting on 50% or more equity. I think that was the stat.
Absolutely right. Yep.
It's just staggering as well. And then what this home equity agreement kind of solves or bridges the gaps is it gives investors an opportunity to take an equity position in your house, and then in exchange you can get are you getting cashed out?
Yes,
are you having to pay? Is it subject to capital gains tax? Kind of give me that.
Well, again, that's where it becomes quite interesting, I think, because the capital that you get, which is up to $500,000 of cash, is tax deferred. So what that means is, because it's an agreement that settles at some point in the future, there is no immediate tax implication. And again, the caveat is, we're not accountants, we're not lawyers, so do your own research on this. But what it really means is that the capital that you get can be offset, or the cost of the capital can be offset against a potential future capital gains tax liability. So in other words, if we were to invest, say, $200,000 in your home in exchange for the right to participate in some of the appreciation when you sell it, when you sell your home, you would typically give us back the investment together with a share of the appreciation. And that share of the appreciation, that cost of capital, can be offset against your possible capital gains tax liability.
Okay, I think I followed that pretty good.